So I'm officially super sad. Found something I did not want to see. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. We are on day 4 after our polar vortex snowstorm. It gave us 13 to 16 inches depending on where I was measuring in my yard. And here in Arkansas, we're a little different. Y'all northerners, y'all are a different breed, okay? I don't know how y'all do it. In Arkansas, it is a national holiday when it snows. Even if it is a light dusting, the entire state shuts down. But today it's time to get back in the shop. Let me show you guys what I got. Now, a customer gave this to me about a month ago, and even though it looks super scary and y'all are going to be like, what? I'm pretty excited about it. Feast your eyes, boys. Some of you are going to be really excited about this one, and some of you are going to be like, yeah, not for me. I, on one hand, am extremely excited about this mower. This is an HRR 21 Honda. Oh, it's like a commercial kind of mower. It's got the quad cutting system. And check this out, guys. The reason that this mower is probably still in existence and not in a junkyard somewhere is because it has a cast iron deck. Okay, cast iron. Now when the customer dropped this off and said they didn't want it anymore, they said it ran great. It just sat for years. They're moving and don't need it. Now right off the bat, we can see both cables are gone. The throttle, choke, and the speed control cables need to be replaced. The bag probably ain't gonna make it, but I might have another one for it. I'm gonna get her cleaned up. I wanna get this engine running because I'm not gonna put any parts into the mower body itself until I find out if she's gonna run. So let's clean her up and get to diagnosing. Now, first thing we want to do is check for compression and spark. So I'm down here fixing to remove the spark plug, and I just saw this, and I got to show it to you because this is genius, all right? This takes 180 IQ to figure this one out. The customer's height adjusters are all wonked out and bent, so they must have been coming out of their notch, and he zip tied them, both of them, to stay in place. Now, I've done my share of rigging, and there's been a lot of times that customers did not want to fix their height adjusters because they can get expensive, up to like $40. I'm definitely going to keep this idea in mind. Well, we definitely have spark, which is awesome, but how'd I do that whenever my kill cable was broke? Let me show you. Now, usually the end of the cable will go into this bracket right here. And as you can see, the plastic part goes in here. Now, whenever you engage the cable, it pushes this section together. That way it unlocks the brake on the flywheel and the kill mechanism. But if you just get a zip tie and tie it all together, you don't have to worry about it. So does that mean you can do it whenever your kill cable's broke? Well, you can. Should you? Absolutely not. We have compression. Let's check the oil. Well, she's got oil in her. Let's check. Yep. All right, let's spray her and see if she pops off. Now, I am going to go ahead and try to start it up, just see if she pops off, but this thing doesn't have any blades on it, so might be a little janky to pull. Yeah. Whoa. So I'm officially super sad. Found something I did not want to see. Looking at the underside here, we got some cracks. We got a crack right here, a crack right here. Now this is where the engine mounts up to it, but what is this bracket up here? I got brackets on both sides here, and that's not good. We'll go inside and look at the top here. That is where it's supposed to mount to the deck, and this entire little section right here, that's all broke out. Just holding it, held in by that bracket. That's not gonna work. Ain't no amount of rigging gonna make that safe. Do I have another deck? Probably. Now, everything's covered up with snow, don't mind that, but just because I have a Honda mower doesn't mean I'll necessarily put that engine on it if I repair it. I have lots of other decks. I got more decks over there that I could definitely put that engine on if I want to. Because when doing these repairs, I don't just have to worry about what the deck shape is in, I have to worry about the self-propel system. Well, if it doesn't have a self-propel system, I don't have to worry about that. So I can go either route. The good thing about these engines is that it doesn't matter if it's a Honda or a Briggs, the bolt hole pattern will still line up. So I have a lot of options of decks I could use. Now, I am not going to trust this engine on that frame. It could break at any time, so I'm not going to do that. Even if I give these mowers away and not sell them, I wouldn't feel good about that. The engine, though, does have potential, but to actually get it running and check the running, I've got to work on it with it on a unit. So I'm going to leave it on this frame, and I'm going to put blades on it so it won't be all janky when I'm pulling it because it needs that balance, and still try to fix it. So sad. I'm so sorry. Oh, she's got potential. Now, this is sort of promising. The fuel line was shut off, probably the last time that they used it. But the tank is like super clean. Let me see if I can get you in there. It's like ridiculously clean inside. And there is a tank filter in there that looks really clean. Now, I don't have high hopes, but do you want to try just throwing some fuel in it and see if she starts up? I do. Open up the fuel flow. See if she's gonna leak. All right, I'll let it sit for a minute, get that flow through there. Let's see if she pops off. Y'all, the engine is perfect. I'm totally gonna go find a deck for it. I got lots of options, but I have consequences too if I choose poorly. I have a Toro that has a bad engine, so I could put the Honda on there, but here's what I'm gambling with. The self-propel system. We've got, you know, I don't know if the shaft size is the same on this engine compared to the Honda I got inside, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to use the same engine pulley or blade adapter, so that if I do end up having to use the Honda engine pulley for the self-propel system, I don't know if the belt's going to be the right size. So I could do that, or I can just go get one that's a push and not have any self-propel. I mean, this Toro's got good cables still. That's a toughie because that's a good deck. Do I want to gamble on it? Yes. I got this one up on the table and I am super happy with the way it mounts to the deck. I don't see any cracks at all. Let's start tearing her apart. Okie dokie, so I'm going to remove the blade adapter, engine pulley. I'm also going to remove this shroud right here. I'm going to take the engine off, but I'm going to use my induction heater. I got the one hot rod. It's awesome. I'm going to make an entire video on this thing because it's amazing and there's just way too much to tell you about in this video. So let's start tearing her apart. This is a hammer puller. If you don't have one, you might want to get one. I'll leave a link to one in the description box below. There we go. Surprise, it's a new day. I look a little different. It got cold, and you all know I don't do cold. So it's 40 degrees again. Let's get back out in the shop. Oh, got the guys up in here. They got their own projects going on. You got a leaky Kohler?
Yeah, they don't have any true paper gaskets, so they just use RTV around it. But when you replace it, you got to be exceptionally careful and frugal with the amount of RTV that you put around here, because anything that gets off inside will get caught in that filter. And that's the primary reason I see these engines blown up, is because people reseal them like they do car engines, you know, with a 1/4 inch all the way around. And if you do that, it just puts a lot of material down in here, and it gets in that screen, it clogs it up, and it can't move oil, and your engine blows up.
All right. So I've got the Toro blade adapter off and the Honda blade adapter. Now, both of these have pulleys because they both came off self-propel systems. I do want to go back, since I have the self-propel system with the belt and everything already on the Toro. I do want to go back with the original blade adapter, but you have to make sure that the shaft size is the same. Fortunately, it is on these. There. It's perfect. So the next thing you do want to check, because we did have to beat this thing to get it off, is if the key inside, these have built-in keys, and this one is still intact, so I can still use that one. Some don't have built-in keys, like this one right here just has a keyway, so you have to put a key separate. So we're going to go back with this blade adapter on the Honda engine and Frankenstein this thing up. Now, I don't want to break the bolts off this engine or off my Honda, so just to be safe, since everything's been sitting out in the cold and it's sort of cold in the shop and they've been sitting for a really long time, I'm going to go ahead and use my induction heater, heat these bolts up, and then take them off with my hand wrench. All right, Ron's gonna grab the engine for me as I unzip it here, because it's better with two people. Yeah, that one was a goner. That's so sad. Literally, the shroud underneath was the only thing holding the engine to the frame. Now, before I put these bolts back into the Honda engine onto the new frame, I do want to go ahead and heat them up to get some of the oxidization off from the aluminum. That way, it doesn't mess my threads up. Okay, so I'm ready to put the Honda engine on the Toro deck, but I do want you to keep something in mind if you're doing an engine swap. You need to pay attention to what bolts you take out of what, because these are the Honda engine bolts and these are the Kohler Toro engine bolts, and they're completely different threads. Now, as I put the blade adapter back on, I'm going to clean up this crankshaft, all the rust just a little bit, and add some antifreeze, or anti-seize. I do want to show you this before I put it back together. You're not going to run into this unless it's a Toro usually, but Toros have spacers down in the bottom of their blade adapters. So before you put it together, you're going to have to make sure that it's sitting flat. And if you want it to stay in place while you put it back on, you can just put your bolt through it. Got the bolt in there so it doesn't flip around on me. Let's see where the key is. And just there we go, we're in. Go ahead and I'm getting the belt back around the pulley. When it engages and tightens. Now my plans with this mower is not to sell it. I really can't stand behind it because I don't know much about the transmission. It might go out the first couple times you use it, and a transmission on this is about $100 and something bucks. So I don't want to go that route. I'm gonna use this mower pretty much as just a borrower. If somebody needs it to borrow a lawnmower, I'll go ahead and let them use this one. I have about 3 like that already, and it never fails. I've got plenty of people that, I'll just give it to them. It's not something I want to stand behind to sell. But I cannot put this blade back on it. I want y'all to look at your mowers too. A lot of people don't notice, once the ends start getting super wafer thin, they'll start breaking off, and that's dangerous. That's when you need to replace a blade. So as much as I didn't want to put much money into this mower, I'm going to have to put a new blade on it. Also, you do want to make sure you find a cupped blade washer to put it back together with. And last thing I gotta do is hook up the control cable. All right, who's ready to see if we've saved another one from the junkyard? Now, it might smoke just a little bit because I've had this engine flipped upside down and backwards, but let's see if she starts. Turn fuel on. Cable's working good. Guys, we saved another one out of the scrapyard. That's awesome. I can't believe that the engine ran and that deck was completely gone. I'm glad it all worked out, that I was able to piece 2 mowers together to make one. Somebody's definitely going to be able to use that this summer. If you would like to get any of the tools you saw me use today, I will leave a link to my Amazon store in the top comment or the description box below. If you haven't found me at Facebook, find me at facebook.com/Chickanic. Find me on Instagram at TheRealChickanic, or find me at Chickanic.com, where you can get your own t-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts. And if you'd like to see another trash to treasure repair video, check this one out right here.